All right, welcome everybody. And I've got Ian Motley here today. So a lot of you will know Ian Motley because he's kind of the go-to guy when it comes to fee proposals. And you might be up against, how I see Ian anyway, is you might be up against bigger, better funded organizations. But if you can out proposal them or out negotiate them, then sometimes that can be a secret weapon that wins you deals and takes you up to that higher level. Now, the reason I like Ian and I'm speaking with him is because there's a lot of people on the internet, as we're all aware, a lot of courses you can buy, and there's a lot of all sorts of things you can do, and a lot of experts. But I first heard of Ian about 7 years ago, actually, when my very first client did one of his courses. So I often talk about Mona Quinn, and she was the first architect I ever worked with. But she also did Ian's course very early on. And I sort of thinking, thinking my course is going to be better than anyone else or something like that. I said, what was Ian's, fee proposal? Oh, she said it was really good. I said, oh, was it? Really good. I'm like, oh, damn. But she said, no, it's really good. She said, you should do it. And I said, oh, okay. Oh, that's good. And ever since, obviously, we've had a lot of clients go through our programs, but every client who's ever been through Ian's stuff has always said it's really good. It's really worthwhile. And it was really valuable to learn how to do fee proposals for kind of those reasons I said before. So anyway, that's why I like Ian. He's kind of, we like to be like that too, where everyone really enjoy, they don't just pay us the money, they also really enjoy it and say, that was a really valuable investment. I'm glad I did it, and I'm winning better projects because of it. So he's kind of like my brother from another mother. That's how I think of him. Anyway, and he also used to live in Australia, which is not New Zealand, but it's close to New Zealand. So give us a quick overview. Who are you? What do you do? And then I'm going to ask Ian some questions and dig into this, sort of fee proposal stuff. But anyway, give us an overview on Ian Motley.
Yeah, sure.
From the horse's mouth.
Thank you very much, Richard. That has been a very kind introduction of yours. So look, for approximately just over a decade now, myself and my colleague have been training architects, interior designers, landscape architects, and anyone in the design community on how to write successful winning fee proposals. And we do this by implementing a strategy, which is more commonly known as choice architecture. That is the name of the strategy that we train people on and that we promote for architects and design professionals.
Cool.
So that's about it. Prior to starting Blue Turtle Consulting 10 years ago, I used to work at a very famous firm of architects in London, a firm called Foster and Partners, which I'm sure many of your, if not all of your clients have heard of. And while I was there, I was actually the person or one of a team of people that used to write the fee proposals and negotiate the fee proposals with the clients. So that's where I learned a lot of the strategies that we teach our clients over the last 10 years.
Cool. Fantastic. All right. So we haven't got a lot of time, so we want to get straight into it, Ian, right? So you specialize. What's the biggest mistake you see architects doing when it comes to fee proposals? Because I was going to say, and that's probably wrong. I'm not going to say that now because now as soon as I think of it, I'm going to be wrong. But obviously, if you do bad fee proposals, you can lose deals that probably you should have won. So what's the biggest mistake that you see architects making with their fee proposals?
Yeah, it's a very interesting question. Honestly, we usually check fee proposals against 15 different criteria. There are 15 things we look for in a successful proposal. But if I was going to pick just one of those things, I'd have to say the biggest mistake is probably treating the fee proposal as simply a legal document and not realizing the emotional requirements you have to meet in order to win a client.
Yep.
Purchasing decisions are emotional decisions. We need to feel good about the decisions we make when it comes to pricing. And so a fee proposal needs to cater to those clients' emotional criteria. And if you can do that and you do that well, you'll have no problem winning clients over. But sadly, I think the biggest problem we find is that too many design professionals do not appreciate or do not understand the emotional criteria, and therefore they write a proposal like it's some sort of legal document.
Right.
They write it from a very logical, a very organized perspective, from a very organized angle. And unfortunately, that's not how human beings work. So that's probably the biggest mistake, is just treating it as a legal document.
Yep, that's brilliant, right? So how I see it is, you've got the sales process where you're trying to get them emotionally, more and more excited, and they're excited about their project, they're excited about you, and you're trying to build that excitement and whatever emotion that is going to rise them. And I can just imagine a chart where the line's going up, and then fee proposal document, which is scary, legal, and all of a sudden it's
yeah.
The emotions drop. They now go from excited to scared, cautious, because your document is just intimidating, and it's a complete, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good metaphor, but I probably don't need one. Everyone gets it. So that's cool. So it's
exactly.
part of the sales process. The proposal is almost like the crescendo of the sales process.
Yeah.
It shouldn't sort of break them into, if you're playing classical music, you don't start break into punk music all of a sudden.
Exactly, yeah.
All right. Now, money's always, fees and money and all that type of stuff. How much should architects be charging for their design services? Have you got any? I know it's an outrageous question, but how do you answer that question? Because I get asked all the time, and I bet you do too.
Yeah, I would say that's probably the most popular question I get asked as a fee proposal consultant, is how much should somebody be charging? So look, my response to that is we need to step back a bit and see the big picture, okay? And the big picture is there isn't one right number that you should be charging, okay? And the reason is because fees are just made up numbers.
Yeah, right.
Okay, that's quite hard for people to understand, but fees are just made up numbers. Nobody really knows how much anything should cost.
Right.
But as human beings, we all believe that we're very good at judging price and value, but actually we're not good at judging price and value. What we're really good at doing as human beings is we're very good at comparing and contrasting.
Right.
Okay, that's what we're good at doing. So nobody really knows how much anything should cost, and that includes you. As an architect, as a design professional, you probably don't know what you should be charging either, nor do your clients. So how do you address that question? Well, look, if you are providing your clients with just one fee and one scope of service in your proposal, then you're probably leaving money on the table, because you don't know if they'll pay more. You don't know if they'll want to pay less, but would like to appoint you. So what we typically recommend is this strategy called choice architecture. And this includes providing your clients with a range of different options at different price points, so they get to choose, hence the word name, choice architecture. Yep. They get to choose the price point they feel comfortable paying you. And you'll be surprised when you give clients a range and a choice, and when you demonstrate the differences, clients will be inclined to pay more for the service, because they can see the many benefits associated with paying that extra fee. Right. So that's what we would recommend. There isn't one fee that you should be paying, so stop looking for that fee. What you need to do is start presenting your clients with some options at different fee levels, so they can choose the service they would like.
Perfect. And I heard Dan Kennedy talks about clients always want a choice. Good name for your program, but they always want a choice. And if they don't have it, if you don't give them a set of choices, otherwise they're going to feel boxed in the corner if they've only got one number. They're going to give themselves choice by checking someone else out. So they might check 3 people out, but if you give them 3 options, now they're choosing between your options, and you don't care which option they choose, as long as they choose one of them, but they have a choice with you, as opposed to just one option, take it or, otherwise it's kind of take it or leave it, isn't it? If you just give them one number, there's nothing to discuss.
Well, exactly. It's like I said earlier, purchasing decisions are emotional decisions. So if you give your client a proposal and it includes a fee, and let's just put a number on it. Let's say your fee is 10% of the construction cost, or perhaps it's $10,000, right? Nobody knows how much anything should cost. So when the client receives your proposal and they see that number, 10,000, 10%, whatever it is, when they see that, they don't know if that's a good number or a bad number. Because once again, as human beings, we can't make decisions in isolation. We need something to compare it against.
Context.
So inevitably, we have to solicit proposals from your competitors. So we've got 2 or maybe 3 proposals to compare it against. Because as a human being, we want our emotions to be aligned, to be able to say yes. So look, what's typically going to happen in this situation, and this happens to everyone, is that let's say you're proposing a fee of 10%, right? Inevitably, somebody's going to be cheaper.
Yep.
Yes, one of your competitors is going to be more affordable. So perhaps the client gets your proposal at 10%. They don't know if it's good. They don't know if it's bad. So they solicit another one. Theirs is 8%. And then they think, well, we'll solicit one more just so we've got 3 to choose from. And theirs is 6%. Now, emotionally, the client wants to feel good about the decisions they make. So what do? Well, they go to the most expensive option, right? Because we as human beings all associate price with value. The more expensive it is, the higher quality the service will be, right? However, we go to the most expensive option, and because we've got a cheaper option on the table, we're going to say to that architect or that design professional, there's a firm down the road that's willing to do this project at 6%. Would you like to reconsider your fee? And why are they doing this? Because they're trying to appease their emotions, right? And if they can get that 10% fee down, then they're going to feel good and they're going to be ready to sign you up.
They get the best architect at a good price.
Exactly. Now, you as the architect, right? When a client comes to you and says, hey, there's a firm down the road, we want to work with you, but there's a firm down the road, we'll do it for 6%. You automatically, your emotions tell you, well, hang on, this is our project to lose. So if we don't negotiate this, we're going to lose it.
Yes.
So you're saying to yourself, okay, I've got to do something here. Now, also, because you're an architect, you want to get the project signed up. You want to start working on it straight away, right? So you want to rush the negotiation. So you think, well, look, if I just reduce it a bit, then they'll sign us up and get going and we'll have a new project by the end of the week. So you respond to the client in what you believe, your emotions are telling you is the best response, which is not right. But your emotions are saying, why don't we just take 10% off the fee? They'll sign us up, we can get going, right? So you do that, you take your 10% off. Now the client, all of a sudden, their emotions kick in and they're saying, well, hang on, if they just took 10% off the fee, I wonder how much more fluff they've got in there. So they want to negotiate a little bit more. And then before you know where you are, you've got so much time invested in writing the proposal, negotiating with the client, that you're framing this project as a loss now. You've got to win it because you've invested so much time. So you continue to negotiate. And this is where the emotions let us all down. So once again, this is why we want to give clients options. We want to give them choice within our proposal, because if we do that, we can avoid that ugly negotiation situation after we presented the proposal.
Yep. I can tell there's so much, there's so much more to this. So if you're listening to this is stuff you need to know, and you need to go deeper. I mean, Ian's given us a sort of a high level on this, but we're going to talk about stuff later about what you can do with Ian and whatever it is, whatever he comes up with, you need to do it, right? That's my advice. Hey, due to COVID-19, there's a lot more work in the residential sector than usual because people have got time and there's been handouts and all sorts of stuff. How can an architect filter out the clients who've got no intention of hiring the architect, and who can waste your time? Well, qualification, I suppose.
Yeah, that's a very good question. So what do? You've got a lot of people calling you now because everyone's been stuck at home, for 12 months. They've looked at every angle of their house and decided it's not what they want. So they're either having an addition or a renovation, or they're moving somewhere new and building a new home. So you're getting a lot of calls. And the question is, what do you do? Because traditionally in our industry, we're all using the same model. Traditionally, we wait for a client to contact us. Usually it's a referral. During the initial phone call, we try and screen out the bad clients and the good clients. And then we automatically offer them an opportunity to meet at their site. If we think they're a good client, we offer them an opportunity to meet at their site, usually free of charge, right? To go and try and build that relationship with them. Now, look, this is where the emotions come into play once again, because you as a design professional believe that by giving that initial service away for free, you're doing a good thing. It helps you feel good. You feel like the client should appreciate that, right?
Yep.
Unfortunately, however, that client, when they see that you'll come and visit them for free, subconsciously, they're starting to frame you as a slightly less quality design professional. Because if you can give your time, your effort, your ideas away for free, then obviously you're slightly more desperate for work than somebody that can't do that, right? So automatically, you're framing the situation the wrong way. So what do we need to do? Well, I'm sure you've talked about this to your clients before, Richard. We need to set up a system. We need to have some hurdles in place to separate those clients who are serious from those clients who are not so serious. There's many ways we can do that. Once again, we like to implement choice architecture. We like to implement what we call a freemium pricing model. And a freemium, as the name suggests, is a mixture of the words free and premium. And what we do is when we have that initial call with the client, we give them two service options. There's a free option, there's a paid option, but they both command a different level of commitment.
Right.
Okay. So the free option, we're saying, look, if you'd like to discuss your project, we're going to need a little bit of a commitment from you if you want us to provide our time for free. That commitment could be having a meeting at the architect's office to learn more about the architect, to learn more about their processes, means, methods, and perhaps review a previously completed project. So you're offering that for free. However, if you make the commitment to go and see them at their location on their time frame, then we're going to charge for that service and we're going to provide slightly more value for the service. So typically we talk about some sort of feasibility study or a pre-designed service of some sort. So what we're doing with these clients is we're having the initial phone call. We're saying, look, everything points in the right direction. They seem like they're going to be worthwhile. I'm not going to make the decision for them. I'm going to let them make the decision. I'm going to implement choice architecture. I'm going to implement a freemium pricing model. I'm going to say, look, I don't know where you're at in the process. If you'd like to come and talk to us, learn about our processes, means, methods, that sort of thing, then we can set up a meeting at our office and go through that for you, absolutely free of charge. Okay. However, if you'd like us to come out to site, we can walk it with you. We can take photographs. We can take measurements. We can discuss ideas, aspirations, means, methods. We can then contact the local council, the local planning department, whoever they are, make sure there haven't been any changes in the local planning controls or zoning controls recently. And then we can create a feasibility report for you, a pre-design report for you, which is going to show you what you can do with your project and how long it might take and how long it may cost. Once again, there's two options there. One is a free and one of them is a paid one. Which one would you like? Brilliant. And that's how we would like to filter out clients. So those, who aren't ready to spend any money can come and do things on your terms. Those who are ready to get things going, they've heard great things, they want to work with you, or they can pay a little bit for that privilege. Now, look, many architects are really uncomfortable with this approach. If it's the first time that you're trying this and you are uncomfortable, you can always credit the cost of the feasibility towards future work, okay? Once you build your confidence and see how many clients accept that, you can then remove crediting the cost. Yeah. But if you want to get your feet wet, if you want to just start doing this and you're not confident yet, well, you can offer to credit that to future work if that makes it easier for you, okay? But I would highly recommend a freemium pricing model in that situation.
Yeah, exactly. It's such good advice. And like you and I are 100% aligned on this. Stop doing free work and by all means have a meeting, but not the free work. And just one thing to add to that, because I do feel we are so aligned on this. I tell people, look, probably less than half the project of people that come to you are going to be good projects that are worth doing. So you need to have this qualification process. You can't look at and leap on anyone who calls you and think you've got a project. Most of them, at least half of them, you want to say no to them.
Yeah.
Because they're not worth winning. They don't have the budget. They have false price expectations. They're painful.
Yeah.
Could be a number of reasons. So really, less than half the people are projects worth winning, and so therefore, get them to qualify. And that's what you're doing here: is getting them to qualify to work with you, as opposed to you jumping on them and trying to convince them. It's no. Here's my process, and if you want to pick one of these, then you can work with me. If you don't want to pick one, then I'm sorry, I don't think we're a fit.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you offer somebody a free and a paid service and they turn them both down, they're not working for you.
Yeah.
Our research, this might be interesting. Our research shows that the average architect that we work with typically wins when they first approach us, typically wins about 30 to 50%
Right.
of the proposals that they submit. Okay.
Right.
Now, here's another interesting statistic. One of our architects that we've been working with for some time now came to a workshop probably about 5 years ago. They're actually reporting that approximately 20 to 30% of their annual revenue actually comes from charging for the initial service.
Right.
Okay. So we are big advocates of making sure you understand how a freemium pricing model works and that you implement it in the correct way. If you don't implement it in the correct way, you're not going to get the right results. And once again, the correct way will change from firm to firm. As an example, let me give you some examples. We work with architects who have actually designed and built their own homes, which is quite common in our industry. So one thing that they offer their clients as a free service option, so that they don't have to go and visit the client, but they can get the client to commit to visit them, is they offer to give them a tour of one of their projects, which is their own home. And they offer to show them what makes, a house, a home, what are the special details within the building that really make it a special place to live, which if you're a non-design professional,
yes,
you really wouldn't recognize or even think to ask about. So what he does is he says, look, if you'd like to come, I can show you one of my projects. I can give you a personal tour. We can talk about what you'd like to achieve, and I can show you some of the things that really make it special. And there's no charge for that service. Alternatively, if you'd like me to come to you, I will do the following. It's going to take approximately 4 to 8 hours of my time. There is a fee associated with that. Which one would you like to go with?
Yep.
And it's an incredible proposition to present to a potential client, because you learn so much about them when they make that choice.
And even if they go for the free and they come to your house, I mean, presumably they're going to know it's your house because you'll let them in on that little secret at some point. But when someone comes to your house, that must change it's not like meeting in a corporate office, or you're coming to someone's house and the dynamics change and the emotion changes when you're going to someone's house, right? They probably, the architect probably offers them a cup of tea and some biscuits, and maybe the wife's there and has a chat, and very different dynamics.
Very different dynamic. Yeah, we've also seen, we work with interior designers who perhaps, some design professionals simply don't want clients at their house, which is fine. Yeah. And they tend to have a relationship with a showroom or something of that nature. So it's another place that they can actually go and meet their clients without having to go to the client's home straight away. Yeah. So once again, this is part of framing yourself as a professional, framing yourself as having enough work that you don't need every single job that comes through the door. And as such, the client will start to value you and your time and your ideas and your service much better than they would do if you just simply give things away for free.
Excellent. Right. How can architects compete with lower priced competitors, or builders or, draftspeople? This is a big one, right? So, someone else does come and undercut, or it's a draftsperson, or it's a builder that, the builder says, I can do design. Here, look at some of my projects. You don't need to pay for an architect. They're a rip-off.
Yeah. It's very common. It's very common. I mean, nowadays we all have competition that's going in really low. I mean, the Royal Institute of British Architects ex-president used to call this the race to the bottom, where we end up competing with lower priced professionals and also design professionals who have less experience, less qualifications and so forth. And inevitably, if we're not careful, we all end up trying to lower the fee. So how do we do this? Is there a way? We recommend a strategy which we call pacing and leading, okay? Pacing and leading is based around choice architecture, and choice architecture, once again, is about giving your clients some choices and some options. And what we're going to do is we're going to use those choices and those options to demonstrate why our design service is better than the lower priced competition. So how does this work? Well, look, traditionally, you put in a fee of 10%, competition comes in and they're at 8%, right? And if you're not careful, you end up negotiating over fee. So how do you avoid that? Well, in this occasion, you're going to put in not one option at 10%, but you're going to put in an option at 8%, an option at 10%, an option at 12%. And you're going to show by developing something we call a fee matrix, you're going to show the client very quickly, very succinctly what the differences are. So they can still buy a more affordable service, but they're going to have to give up some of the bells and whistles, some of the benefits of the higher price service. And it is incredible when a client gets to see that they're going to have to give something up. They typically don't want to. Why don't they want to do this? Because, for example, with residential clients, they're typically going to build their own home probably once in a lifetime. Once in a lifetime. And you can guarantee they want to get that right. So they're not easily and willingly wanting to give up services. They want to get the best. And when they can see what the best is, they will actually increase their spend on their own accord. This is actually a very interesting side story here. This is how we kicked off the whole Blue Turtle company. 10 years ago, when I left Foster & Partners in London, started working my own, we took some of the strategies we learned there and we tried them out on small single-family residential projects, which we hadn't done before. We weren't sure if they would work. We tried this strategy on a very famous, well, it wasn't a famous project, but it was a project at a very famous beach, which I'm sure you and most of your clients have heard about. It was a project located over in Bondi Beach, over in Australia. The client came to us. They said they wanted to renovate an existing home and expand upon it. They loved the design professionals' work, wanted to work with them. They gave us their budget. They told us how much they could spend on the project and said, what can you do for us? So we created options for them. We priced one of the options at the budget level that they had. And then we priced some other options, said, look, if you do have any additional funds, these are the bells and whistles. These are the extra benefits, things we could do if you were able to find the funds. And guess what? When we presented it in that manner, voila, the client was able to find the funds. They actually increased their spend by 77%.
Wow.
Okay, without any negotiations on that project. That's one of the projects, one of the 5 projects we show you during the fee proposal workshop so that you can see how that worked and how that presented. And like I say, that kicked it off. After that, we tried it with various other clients in different genres of the industry, from commercial to residential, and we found the same results time and time again, that once you give client options, once you demonstrate the benefits, they are inclined to spend more on design services.
My wife and I went looking for cars on the weekend, right? And we were looking at cars, and the particular type of car we were looking at had, the bottom level was premium. The next level up, which had driving assistance, and you could, the guy, as he took us for a test drive, he turned around and looked at us, my wife in the back seat with his hands off the wheel. So it has, it drives for you. And that was Lux. And then there was, above that, there was premium, ultra. So exactly the same thing, premium, the bottom level was premium, which sounds kind of funny. Then there was Lux, and I don't even know what was in them. But I tell you what, I didn't even know what was, I kind of knew there was more stuff in the bigger ones. And obviously it was more expensive, but I felt myself gravitating. There's no way I wanted the premium, because that was the bottom one. And there's no way I was going to take that. At the very least, I was going to take the ultra, and I would do a little bit of a comparison, probably, using a matrix or something like you're talking about. And I probably would have graduated to the ultra, because, and the psychology for me would have been, I don't want to feel I'm missing out on something. Like you say, is the difference between this dollar figure and this, well, it's not really actually going to make any difference to my life. I know it's more, but if I drive for the next, and it's the same with people living in a house, I suppose. If I'm going to live in this house for the next 10, 15 years, I don't want to be living in that house feeling I'd missed out on some of the things I could have had. That's just going to grate me for the next 15 years. And so therefore, not everybody, but I think, I love the psychology of what you're talking behind, because it's all psychology, and, you've got such a good understanding of how people think and how they feel and how that influences their decision-making, and then how certain structures affect people's emotions and decision-making. I just think it's brilliant. I love it. Right.
Exactly. I mean, it's your emotions that are driving you there. And a lot of people think, well, a car is different. It's a product. I've got a service. No, even doctors nowadays implement choice architecture. It's a thing. It's called concierge medicine.
Right.
And they give their patients options, okay?
Yeah.
If you haven't heard of it, look it up, concierge medicine. It's becoming very popular. And the reason it's becoming so popular is that doctors say it allows them to give the best service to those who need it most, and gives their patients choice. So, yeah.
And you look at cell phones. There's always choice architecture with cell phones. You can get there's different levels. They give you the extra stuff, or even you go to McDonald's. I mean, these companies, McDonald's, you can have the basic burger, or you can have the pack, or you can have you want to supersize it. There's always choice architecture. So all these companies. So what I'm saying is, I'm just agreeing with Ian 150% that all the most profitable companies in the world are using this psychology, but architects aren't.
Yeah.
So you've got to copy what the billionaires are doing, and this is one of the strategies they're doing. So, you've got three options for people working for you. This is where I say, guys, you really should have a chat with Ian on something, whether it's the premium, the ultra, or whatever. But how can people get more from you, and what are the options?
Okay, well, look, we simply provide three services as it happens. So we have three options. Look, a big part of being successful as a design professional in any business, in fact, is having the right mindset.
Yeah.
And having the right mindset usually requires just having the confidence to do things. You can hear, Richard, or you can hear me telling you that you should be charging for that initial consultation, but you don't feel confident. So one of the options we offer our clients is an opportunity to join one of our mastermind groups. In a mastermind group, they're limited to 10 people, and you can hear from people that are already doing these things and already benefiting from them. You can ask them directly, what do they do? What do they say to the clients? How does it work? What happens if this happens? What do they do if that happens? And that will really help build your confidence. So one of the things we can help you with is you can join one of our mastermind groups, and we can put you together with 10 other people so you can improve your mentality, your confidence in that arena. The second option we offer is we actually can train you, okay? We offer fee proposal training. This is what we are known for. We've been offering it for over a decade. It is one of the most popular and most recognized courses in the industry. It's called the Fee Proposal Workshop, all right? So we can train you. The course is a combination of online training that you take at your own pace, combined with live Q&A, which happens every other Thursday. So you can get online, you can talk to us directly. I'm one of the panelists on the Q&A. Alexandra Harrison's the other panelist. You can talk to us, you can get answers to your question, but even better than that, you can see what other people are asking who are also taking the course. Right. So that's the second thing, is we can train you. And then the third thing, if you'd like, we can work one-on-one with you, okay? So those are three options. We can put you in a mastermind group, we can train you, or we can work one-on-one with you. Now, look, what I would recommend for anyone who's thinking about any of these things, there's a lot of decisions to make, a lot of choices. So the easiest way to go about this is don't make a decision just yet. You can schedule a call with me, okay? We'll put a Zoom link at the end of this meeting. You can schedule a Zoom call with me. It's absolutely free. We can talk through your current situation, can answer any questions you have about your current situation. And then if we can help you achieve your goals in the fee proposal arena, we'll work towards that with you, okay?
Cool. That's awesome. Guys, you've got to do one of those. That's my advice. If you're on our list, you need to know this stuff, because you can lose by not understanding this stuff. You can lose proposals, but you can also beat bigger, better funded competitors by knowing this stuff, and you can end up up leveling the quality of projects you get to work on. So this stuff I fully endorse it. It's so cool. And I love the psychological aspect to it. And everybody I've ever heard from people who've been on our programs, who have been through it, say it's a great program. So awesome. Thank you, Ian. Appreciate your time. And I'm really keen to do some more work with you somehow in the future. So we're going to discuss that too.
Great. Thank you very much for inviting me. Much enjoyed it. So thank you.